Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Okay, so today we're going to talk about physics, science. We're going to talk about atoms, well, not atoms, but electrons, particles, and we're going to talk about parallel universes, manifesting, and physics. And I mean Western physics, science. One thing I realized, I haven't gotten across the science that I back everything up with that I talk to you guys about. So I think a better way to say that is the science behind manifesting and how I heal people. Now the purpose of this video really, it's not about me, it's about you. See this car right here? All you have to do is unlock the door with the key, get in the car, and put your ignition or your key in the ignition, start it up. It's that easy. And that's how manifesting is, and that's how healing is for me. Healing for me is, it's funny because it's easier to heal people on an energetic level than it is to manifest things. So I've got a clip of a video from a physicist that I'm going to show to you, and he talks about this. And there's one little piece that I took out that I want you to hear. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's that woo-woo stuff. I'm like, really? So you think that's science? And now, this physicist is a physicist. He went to university in the United States. He's working at not a physicist facility, but I can't think of the name of the facility right now. But the point being, this is a real scientist. This is a real physicist who does this work on a daily basis. Now, here's what I'm doing. I'm getting rid of the mysticism, or the what's another word I'm looking for? The mysticalness. I can't find the right word, but I'm getting rid of the mysticism of how all this stuff works. Because there's one secret key behind all of this. Do you believe? It's the same thing as standing in front of that car, next to that car, with the key to the ignition of the door lock in your hand. Saying, yeah, I don't believe this is going to work. I don't believe if I put the key in the door that it's going to unlock the door. I don't believe if I pull on the handle it's going to open the door. I don't believe that. And definitely don't believe that if I get in the car and sit in the car and shut the door and put my seatbelt on and then put my key in the ignition and then turn it 2 or 3 clicks that it's actually going to start the car. I just don't believe it, Mike, so I'm not even going to try. Okay, so here's the first piece. Now, I want you to write this phrase down, or this sentence. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Now, I'm going to come back around to this a little bit later in the video. Let's remember another piece to that. Okay, this has been proved scientifically, physiologically by using, it's like a camera, hold on. It's an X-ray that takes the X-ray of the energy from your system when someone makes a noise, and also from hooking up electrodes to your brain and your system. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, they've been doing this, training Olympic athletes, professional athletes, high school athletes. Okay, here it is. The brain cannot, or the nervous system, it's really the brain/nervous system cannot tell the difference between something real and something imagined. And that's the key to the first piece. The brain cannot tell the difference between something real and something imagined. That's manifestation. I believe some of you are just now coming back online. Alright, here we go. So when I was in my early 20s, I used to go to church in Mountain View. It was a non-denominational Christian church. And at one point, the elders had voted me in to be the associate pastor. Now, I had no intentions of being a pastor. I was just, I was vigorous about learning. I was intense about learning. And I had done some prophetic things. I had said some things and they would happen shortly thereafter. And I'd done it quite consistently. And this is why the pastor and the elders got together and said, hey, that he has the gift. Or very spiritual. Now, there's something that I learned, and I'm going to share it with you in a moment, but I want to share one thing first. So, a long time ago, and I mean about 28 years ago or something like that, maybe even longer, I was in Union Square, San Francisco, and there used to be a big bookstore there. It was 2 stories. It was Borders Bookstore. Great bookstore. It had coffee shop, everything. Might even been 3 stories. I'm not sure about that. But it was a big, big bookstore. So Tony Robbins had always mentioned, like, every year you should read at least 2 books on money, finance, investing, etc. So I thought, well, I really kind of need to get going down that path, and because I was really into like psychology, therapy, NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, and I was studying all this stuff for at that point probably 12 years or longer. So I said, okay, it's time to get in there and get a book on money, right? So I went into the money section and books on money and finance and investing and, all that stuff, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'd actually attended Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminars, actually 2 of his seminars, and read, at that point, 5 of his books. So I'm looking, and a book, I kid you not, it was on like the 4th row above me. It was about 5.5 feet, above me, not above me, but 5.5 feet from the ground. And it kind of stood out. It kind of glowed. And I thought, yep, okay, I get it, God. So I reached out and grabbed that book, and it's called Busting Loose from the Money Game. Thought, okay, I like this. Had a good image of a man and a woman in business suits jumping up in the air, and they were happy. And I thought, okay, I like that. And it's by Robert Scheinfeld, Scheinfeld. I am expecting this to be about money. I'm reading the book, and sure enough, it's about metaphysics, it's about spirituality, it's about manifesting. Now, there's one thing in the book that kind of grabbed my attention. Now, I've heard this before. We talked about it in one of our 5-week NLP trainings, and I've read it in another book, etc. So I've heard this before. But I think the way he said it, it caught my attention. So I'm going to give the gist of it. I'm not going to give the perfect details because I haven't even read the book in probably 15 years. I've read it, I think, twice or 3 times now. But here's the gist of it. There was a point in time where you, me, all of us were all powerful. Now, I don't think that's the word he used, but essentially he went on to say, look, you know how they have those, cartoons and movies about Superman and Wonder Woman and, all those characters, right, that have superpowers? He goes, that was us. All of us. He goes, we were so powerful, we could just think, boom, cheeseburger, and it was there. Boom, brand new car, and it was there. Anything we wanted, we could have at the moment of a thought. We manifested so easily and so fast, life became boring. It was too easy. There was no challenges. Superman jumped up in the sky and then flew up in the outer atmosphere and flew around the earth and made the earth slow down to slow down time or reverse time. I mean, that was us. We could do anything. So we decided what we were going to do is we were going to come down here to earth, and we essentially were going to take away our powers. Kind of like Superman's kryptonite, okay? So we purposely came down here, and the goal was to slowly, kind of like an Easter egg hunt, get one piece of our power back at a time by learning things, by healing through emotions and issues. So you're dirt poor, you're 25 years old, you're in college, and you're riding this clunker down the road, and sure enough, it breaks down 20 miles from any city or any home or any farm. You're out there all by yourself. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? Well, he gives you things to actually say, and I forget one of them because I used to say it all the time, and it worked. So anytime something like, oh my God, how am I going to fix my car? I don't have the money. What am I going to do? And there was this, I'm going to have to look it up because it was a really cool phrase, and I would say it over and over and over, and sure enough, some way, somehow, something would come. Money, a person, a friend, something would happen, and the problem was fixed. Now, he says each of these major challenges that we bump into, it's exactly like Easter egg hunting, where you know how your mom and dad hid the little plastic Easter egg, and inside the egg there would be either like a piece of candy or a toy or maybe a quarter or a dollar or something, some kind of reward. He goes, each time you do go through one of these experiences, you grab a piece of your power back. And each time you do it, you get a little bit more powerful. So essentially we created life to where we could have challenges to overcome because we were so bored. Now I posted something, I think it was a video. Let me see if I can find it. It was either video or something on Facebook. Hold on. Okay, I can't find it and I don't remember what I said, but the person's at whatever I said, the person was like, oh, and they responded and they said, you know what, you're right. Perspective matters. If you can see things from a different perspective, you can shift your entire life. What do you think this video is going to be about? Showing you something that will help you shift your perspective. What do you think all my videos have been about for the last 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years? So here I am in Mountain View in church, and Pastor Rex had said this more than one time. He said, you know, a lot of these scientific people say that science proves that God's not real. And he's saying, no, science is proving that God is real. Now I'm going to say it in a slightly different way. Science has already proved that prayer works. And prayer is manifestation. So Pastor Rex brought up a study about a new thing that scientists, physics were doing, and they started to work on the particle level. And they started to notice something different that literally made some scientists have nervous breakdowns, go into the hospital, quit their jobs, etc., because it went against every left-brain scientific thing that they ever believed, all the rules and the laws and the structure of what they believed science was all about. And all of a sudden, something changed all of it. Now I'm going to go through this real quick, and then I'm going to show you the video clip. Now here's the thing. A couple years later when I was in college, they actually brought up this study. Now here's essentially what the study was. Now in the old days, okay, they had some magnifying, microscopes. And they noticed molecules. Oh, there's molecules. Okay, what do we do with those? Well, they would shoot one molecule at another at a certain speed, length, distance, and angle, and it would hit the other molecule, and they would record what it would do. It's like, okay, well, it went off at this degrees, at this speed, at this length, and time, and distance, speed, it's everything. And they'd write it all down. They do it over and over and over and over. And like, okay, so if you shoot this molecule at this rate of speed, at this angle, the other molecule, when it collides into it, does this. And so they go, okay, so it does it every single time. So we've done it 100,000 times, so we know exactly what it's going to do. So then they got down to the electron, right? And then they got down to particles. And then they got down to quantum physics. Quantum particles. And as usual, the scientists and multiple, where they would do the tests, and they would shoot one particle at another over and over and over and over. And they got bored after doing it for 5 or 6 hours for 5 days in a row, or 100 days in a row, or however long they did it. But they were getting really bored, and their imagination started kicking in. And that's what happens when you start getting tired, because you can't focus. And when you let go of focus, your imagination and creativity kicked in. So what happened was, kind of in the back of their mind, they're thinking, man, what would happen if I shot it the next time, and the next time I shot this particle, that particle, at the same speed, time, rate, distance, length, etc., etc., it went off in the other direction, in the complete opposite direction. He shoots it, guess what it did? It went off in the other direction. So this it wasn't just the scientists. Other scientists in different parts of the world were doing the same test. And they were like, wait, what just happened? Like, oh, I got to recalibrate my machine here. So they'd recalibrate it, test it. Okay, yep, it's working, it's calibrated, it's good. And they did it again and again. Okay, everything's normal. Another hour goes by, and then he kind of thought, well, that was really weird. When I imagined that, it actually went in the other direction. And then when he did that same imagination, guess what happened? It went off in the other direction. So he thought, okay, I got to recalibrate this again, and he did. And he double, triple checked to make sure it was working correctly and everything was going in the direction it was supposed to. So he's okay. So he started doing it again and again and again, and then his creativity started, or his imagination started taking over, and he was like, I'm going to imagine it going in a completely different direction. He shoots it, Guess what happens? It went in a third direction. You got to understand, these are the people that make up things called the universal law. It's unchangeable. Now, you have to understand science at this point in time. I think this was around 1970 or something like that. I forget the year that they did this test. It was blowing their minds. Like, no, this is impossible. It goes against every universal law that we know in science and physics. So these locked-in left-brain creatures would have absolute, complete psychological, mental, emotional breakdowns, and they were checking them into psychiatric wards and putting them on medication. I'm dead serious. Because no, science doesn't work that way. It's an A and a B. It's this equals that. There's no other option. There's no other possibility. It's either A or B, and once we test it, we know which one it is. A or B thinking. If you followed me over the last 5 years, you've heard me talk about either or mentality, which is the left brain. It's when you're locked in the box. You block out 97% of reality, and you focus on one thing with another, one molecule with another, or this vitamin, how it affects this germ or this bacteria or whatever. You have to have an absolute clean, pure environment. So even the water itself that you use to test it in has to be something like 96% pure and clean. And logical people will tell you, well, this is reality. No, it's not reality. You literally blocked out 96% of reality, or 97% of all reality. This is not reality. That's a false illusion of reality. It's a small, tiny portion or fragment of reality. Because what happens if you intermix dirt and temperature change and all the, well, then you don't really know what's affecting what. So I do understand the scientific method and its purpose, and it has a great purpose. To discover what affects what and why it affects it and what does what, etc., etc. The problem with these people is they get stuck in this thinking and thinking, well, this is the only way. Because remember, left brain thinking is it's either A or B. It can't be both. And it definitely can't be right brain options and possibilities. It could be 100 different ways. Oh no, that's going to blow their fuses. The neurons are going to just have a complete meltdown. They can't. Oh no, don't throw that at us. You want to know who's going to take us into the future when it comes to science and physics? Women. Because women are born using their right brain. The right brain is the future. Because the right brain is all about options and possibilities. It can handle options and possibilities. The male brain can't. It's about singularness of focus on one singularness thing. And that's not reality. Reality has all kinds of options and possibilities. Molecules, atoms, electron, particles, quantum particles colliding and crashing into each other, affecting each other on a mass scale. Only the right brain can handle that. So it's right brain people that are going to lead the world, and it's right brain people that can manifest. So when we get to the quantum level, we began to realize that it is the observer that is affecting the quantum particles and what direction and what they do. The observer's thoughts and imagination affects the particles. Well, of course, because everything is electromagnetic. Your thoughts, the actual impulse inside your brain, and what affects your muscles to flex or not flex are electrical magnetic impulses. Your thoughts have actual electricity in them. So, and they are magnetized, positive and or negative. Of course it's going to magnetize and affect everything around it. You are the matrix. Your mind, your imaginations, your heart, your emotions, your feelings create. Your thoughts, you impact the entire matrix. You get to affect the matrix and what happens inside of it by your imagination, by imagining what you want to happen. It's not about escaping the matrix. It's about escaping the control of the matrix over you and stepping into the creator mode. This is what my internal awareness and emotional fulfilling or emotionally grounding techniques are all about. It teaches you how to step out of the small portion, out of when the two lines come together at a V, at the tip of the V, I pull you out of that and I put you in creator mode. It's like you step all the way back and everything is out in front of you. Now you are free to create it the way you want it. You get to affect the entire universe, the world, politics, what's happening. See, everyone together, let's call them collective. And I never used that word before, but it really applies right now. The collective of every mind, every heart, every emotion, every person on the planet affects the shift and dynamics of the universal world of how we do things, our politics, and why this is there, why is this wealthy, why is this not, why do we affect that with our thoughts. My job is to give you back your power. Now I want you to watch this video clip. It's a Joe Rogan video clip with a physicist. Okay, so the title of the video, so you can look it up. I'll also leave a link right there in the description box towards the top. The title is Physicist Sean Carroll Explains Parallel Universes to Joe Rogan. Now, I don't go that far into it, but I pulled apart where he talks about what I just mentioned about how the observer affects the outcome.
You know, sometimes you hear this debate about are things like electrons and photons particles or waves. The answer is that they are waves. And the wave function has this weird property that when you're not looking at it, it's a wave, it's all spread out or it's localized somewhere, but it obeys an equation, the Schrodinger equation. So far, so good, just like regular physics. There's a thing, the wave function, it obeys an equation, the Schrodinger equation. You can predict what's going to happen next. But the weird thing about quantum mechanics is that there's a whole separate set of rules for what happens when you look at the thing, when you observe it, when you measure it.
That's where things get squirrely with people describing it, right?
Yes.
And that's where they want to go woo-woo on you.
It's an opening to be woo-woo, right? When you say, like, what do you mean observe something? Like, does it have to be a conscious being? Can it be a video camera? You know, that's just weird, right?
Is it the act of measuring that changes things?
Well, this is the puzzle, okay? This is what is called the measurement problem of quantum mechanics. That the rules we teach our students at Caltech or anywhere else, when we teach them quantum mechanics in their sophomore year of college, the rules say when a system is observed, when it is measured, its state, its wave function changes dramatically, suddenly, and unpredictably.
Now, let me ask you this.
You affect the universe. You create your life. The sooner you realize it, the sooner you can begin to create what you desire. Now let's go back to the beginning of this video where I said I'd come back to this. So part one is you do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Now we also know scientifically it's been proven, I mean, they started talking about this in the 90s. They've been using it with Olympic athletes, professional athletes. Your body, your mind, your nervous system cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination. So what they would do is they'd have these Olympic athletes, and what they would do is they would connect these brain electrodes and heart electrodes and perspiration electrodes on all over their body, and they would have them run the event, and then they would sit them down, and they'd also record it while they're sitting in a chair, imagining running the event to the same extent, to the same extreme, to the same extent. And here's what they found out. Your body, physiologically, neurologically, your mind, your brain waves, cannot tell the difference between doing it for real and imagine doing it for real. And this is the key to the first and second part. That's manifestation. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Meaning, get yourself into the emotional state of actually being and having it. That's what Jesus meant when he said, "Thou shalt not want." They left off the other part. You can't have if you imagine wanting. If you imagine want, you get want, which means you don't have. You have to imagine having. And then you will receive having. Like attracts like. If you imagine having, you become having. Which is the second part. You manifest what you are. It's as easy as daydreaming. When you get caught up in the daydream so much that you forget about the reality that's around you, you just became it. You manifest what you are. So become it for a few moments, and then it manifests. The steering wheel steers the car in the direction you want the car to go in, to take you to the location that you want to arrive at. Your imagination is your steering wheel. Imagine being, imagine having, imagine doing. To the extent that your nervous system gets so caught up in it, it doesn't realize it's not real. It's all about one word and another: intention and imagination. When you intend what you imagine, it becomes. All you have to do is one thing: know what you want, and then imagine having it. Intend it. Your intentions create and bring you to the destination simply by imagine being in that destination right now. You are powerful beyond measure. All you have to do is imagine having. That's it, guys. God bless you. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and as always, you can make a donation. There's a PayPal link in the description box if you want to go ahead and support this channel. You can also buy one of my elite dating and relationship coaching books for men and women to support this channel. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.